Hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tuber. Welcome back. If this is your 22nd and final The Rookie Feds, hopefully still season 1 episode review. Yeah, I'm still saying hopefully. We have, as of this margin, we have not yet been renewed for a season 2. Currently right now, ABC is still due to do an upfronts in a couple of weeks. Other side of things, there's currently a Writers Guild strike currently happening at the moment with, well, this being day one, like officially day one. So we have no idea how long it's going to last for. And normally they got to be logistical of like, how many shows can we really operate without having like a stable team of writers. It is very dire. I'm very hopeful that everything will be resolved, hopefully in a timely manner. But on the Fed side, we just do not know whether or not we will get a season 2. The Rookie Universe will, of course, live on the main show in season 6, but we have no idea whether or not the Fed side of things will continue. But if, sad to say, which I hope it's not the case, I really hope, but if Feds does end up getting canceled for whatever reason, that we will still get to see the Feds character pop in on Rookie Prime, but we'll see how that goes. But for now, in this week's episode, which is the finale to the still hopeful first season, I will admit that I feel like this just kind of was the Rookie season 4 finale equivalent. Where like it was a pretty good finale. It definitely wasn't like a big cliffhanger thing. It definitely just like kept things like very close-ended. It kind of reminded as well of like how tight-knit this family is, of like, yeah, they've only been together for like less than a year. But just by the end of it, it just runs to home of like, yeah, this team is a unit, whether or not some of them like to admit it or not. It definitely was a nice reminder. It definitely kind of helped serve as the theme of the season, kind of. A found family once again, and definitely I'm just happy of like how deeply rooted these characters are in each other's relationships and stuff like that after the past, this past season so far. And it just makes you hopeful that they'll continue to tell more stories in this this little nook of the Rookie universe. But for now, just on the finale, like the grand scale of things, it doesn't really do much to move the needle per se. I feel like this was just kind of like another average episode of the Rookie Feds, so to speak. It just doesn't move the needle, which it doesn't need to. Like, not every finale needs to be this big epic thriller, but like definitely there was kind of a need to like really like make it a little bit more grand, so to speak. But even then, it still was a really good finale, and definitely leads me wanting to see this team again for another season. But with that being said, let's go through the Butcher Recap and let's talk about the finale for season 1 of the Rookie Feds. So we begin in the middle of Las Vegas, which I may or may not go to this year, so who knows. Vegas has been popping up a lot on my feeds recently, so maybe there's a trip down there in the future. We see a guy, a lone man, coming out of the desert, presumably after a long night of, epic partiness, but he was about to die. Like, that I haven't been to Nevada, but I've been to that side of the world. It's very hot. It is very hot. So yeah, eventually we cut back over to Simone's house. It is the birthday. It's her birthday. Well, birthday eve. They're planning a big old party for her. It's their 49th birthday. It's also a pretty special birthday, but she's not quite admitting the reason just quite yet, and she's looking for the invite in the invite list. It's a pretty jacked list. However, most of her Fed's family is not currently in the guaranteed pile. Obviously, of course, Brendan is on board to come over. Same with his girlfriend. However, the rest of her family is not quite. Garza did not even respond. Carter is a definite no, and Laura is a maybe. So it's like a definite like, what is really going on here? Well, what exactly is the big old reason why this is happening right now? So Simone definitely is going to shuffle some feathers today at work when she gets there. At the same time, Brendan is showing Antoinette the 6th GIF on her birth week routine for Simone, which Antoinette's kind of a little like, okay, 6, a full week of presents? Kind of reminds me of Trina Vega back on Victoria's, where like, it's a birth week, so I'm like, I should get everything. I'm like, I get it. No, birthday is one. It's one singular day. Even for me, my limit is 2. I'll do 2 days to celebrate my birthday. After that, that's about it. Yeah, but besides that, he doesn't give much reason. Like, Simone deserves this, and like he just rolls along with it. There's a big meeting with the director of the FBI that's visiting the LA branch, and Simone and Brendan got good front row seats. Brendan decides to give her the present early. She's very happy about it, and of course, obviously, she's still telling Brendan like, calm down. It's been 6 straight days of presents. I think the first one was enough, but we already know Brendan's a master at presents, so definitely this was very much needed, so to speak. Laura and Carter come in to basically steal the seats because, like, hey, you're our probie, so I'm like, you get to leave and give us your seats, which is a little bit of a fight, but I'm like, yeah, it's not really much of a fight, to be honest with you, with these two. Simone does question them again about their response to her party. Laura's like, I'm an FBI agent. I'm always on call, so I could be there, and then I could leave. You never really know. But then again, you and Simone are part of the same team, so if you get called, she'll get called, so... Carter's only thing is that he does not like to socialize outside the workplace with his probie, which I'm like, well, you went on vacation with her in a foreign country. You went to her house for Thanksgiving. I'm pretty sure there was at least a third example that I'm forgetting, but I'm like, still, you've had plenty of instances where you've hanged out with Simone publicly that is not work-related, Carter, so please get your shit together. The director lied, but he does decide to delay his briefing for the time being as he tells Garza to bring his team over to the fishbowl for a new mission. Apparently, a FBI agent that's in their version of the IA department was recently scheduled to go down to Vegas for a fender bender situation with an agent's federal car, and then the next thing you know, he's found in the middle of the desert with no pants, no shirt, and literally delirious, and has no idea what the heck happened to him last night. So they're just curious, like, what's going on, what's the real beef about this, and the director's not really giving that much information away per se, definitely being secretive. He's letting Garza and his team kind of like, y'all are like, top of the brass now, so I'm like, you guys figure it out, don't worry about it. So Garza decides to send over Simone and Carter to investigate fully, while the rest of them stay behind at the fishbowl to get the lowdown about the FBI agent, what his detail was, per se. Also, Garza mentioned that this is the best boss, the best director the FBI's ever had, so do not fuck this investigation up, per se. So they start looking into the guy. This guy is not a newbie. He's a veteran in the field. However, he got into an accident a few years ago that resulted in him getting basically a desk job. So he's kind of been out of action for quite a while. And by the time they interrogate him, they don't really get much information out of him. He just says, like, yeah, he was in Vegas for work. And then that's it. He does not remember anything else. And of course, Garza's just thinking he's like withholding certain information out of embarrassment or out of fear of losing his job and everything. And then from that point, I want to say, then Antoinette comes and says, yeah, I'm here for the drug test. And apparently, sadly, Garza has to administer the stool sample, which I'm like, oh, Garza, but you poor guy. Simone and Carter are on the plane. They're just talking shop about like what they have to really look for when they get down to Vegas. Simone also asks him, specifically just reasons of like why he is the way he is with, Vegas and drinking, and also about her birthday, everything about that sort of spiel. Well, we don't get to that big scene yet. Not big scene, that important scene yet. We don't get there. So they arrive in Vegas. They go over to the hotel he was staying at. They look at his room. It's a pretty massive room for one person that's on an FBI salary. There was apparently an incredible party that happened here. They look into the bedroom. They find a guy holding a briefcase, supposedly saying that this is a bomb. If I let go, we're gonna die. However, when they realize, wait, there's no such thing as a briefcase nuke. That hasn't existed yet. So they realize that he's been punked by the FBI agent they're looking for, but the guy doesn't really get much information. He does say that there was a bunch of sex workers here last night. He gives them one of their cards. They go downstairs. They find the person already waitressing. They force her to tell her the information that they require. She doesn't give much. She just says like, look, I was hired to give this guy a good time. That was about it. Anything else beyond that, I had no real involvement towards it. So when that Fred line kind of goes to an end, I think that's it on their end, so to speak. Oh, no, yeah. But however, she does remember there was a couple of, there was another guy there that night. So they pull her over to get like a sketch artist drawing of him. I want to say we cut back to LA once they get the sketch artist picture back, as well as at the same time, Laura, is with Brandon as Brandon's trying to communicate to get apparently Lizzo, which I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've seen her recently. I don't want to assume who she is. I'm not a big artist fan, so I'm like, I don't really know everything about the craft. Um, yeah, but Laura also points out that, like, Brendan is like being a little bit, a little bit unconfident with him giving so many gifts to Simone. Then they get the drawing in, and then they bring it over to the guy. Apparently, it's another special agent that was mainly primary based in Nevada. So they send Brendan and Laura over there to go get the guy as well. So by the time they get there, they find him in the office. He's pretty alone, so to speak. Actually, are we right about that course? I want to say we're right about that course. I know we get a little bit of like a night break at some point, but I'm not sure if like Laura and Brendan like go out to do so. I'm not entirely sure about that 100%. But actually, no, wait, I remember now. So they go over to Nevada. They find the guy. They still see the scuff on the car. They go inside. They talk to the agent, and he's like saying like, yeah, nothing really interesting happening here. The guy was here, just here to introduce himself. Then he asked him for like a night in Vegas, and by the time they comes back the next day, then he'll do the investigation. Then after that, that'll be it for his time. And he's really like kind of like being like neutral, but like Laura notices there's 3 coffee cups on his desk, even though he's the only worker in this substation. And eventually, once they realize like there's other drug dealers here, there's drug dealers in here, they shoot fire. They manage to take them down, and they bring him back over to LA to interrogate him. And he does admit that he got super bored just being an FBI agent in the middle out of nowhere, which I'm like, honestly, that's a cozy, set job. I mean, honestly, he does it himself. There's nothing to do. I mean, like, you could literally do a hobby. Oh, you know how much content I could make working in the FBI if I had that station? I mean, get a wife and kids so you have something to go home to. And like, yeah, you're perfectly set for life. I don't know what he was thinking. He was definitely thinking the wrong approach for this. So afterwards, he admits, like, yeah, he took him to Prime Vegas to the hotel. He hired the sex workers, and hopefully that would distract him long enough to maybe like, make him forget about what the reason he was here for. But I guess that didn't really fully work out. And then he asked him about like the LSD and the old-fashioned truth serum that they found in the system. And he's like, yeah, I don't know anything about that. That was not as far as I needed to do. So there was like a different set of circumstances that happened that night that, they don't even know about as well. But they don't have any much information right now, so to speak, to go into. So Simone and Carter are sadly stuck in Vegas for the night. As they have to wait. They have to wait for final word of what can happen next. So that night, Simone checks in and she decides to like have a drink, and Carter has to ask her, why do you care so much about your 49? Isn't 50 going to be a bigger year? And she's like, yes, but like 49 is the reason because her mom didn't get to live to 49. That, her mom was such an important piece in her life. And, after Cutter was arrested and, taken to prison for a long time, she kept the family going, keeping them together. The idea of like they could still be a family once he gets out. And then by the time she didn't have much time left, and it really did. It made important her that like going forward, that Simone would now outpass her mother. She would be living experiences that her mom never got to experience together. And honestly, I can sort of relate. My dad's kind of the same way, where he's outpassed my grandpa, so I could definitely see the emotional toll that it might take on a person. So I definitely do align with her about that decision to like make this an important year herself. And as well as the other thing is her superstition of like, oh, I'm always lucky on my birthday. Like I'm always getting like the big wins. And she's like, give me your $1. I'm gonna go win a jackpot. She does it, and it doesn't work. But she claims that, oh, it's your negative energy. Like you just not believing in me is not giving me the tools I need to win this. So Carter leaves, and then Simone puts in another $1, and she wins a jackpot, and an amazing night off camera begins. The next day, they're looking at video footage that the guy had, the other agent had, because he wanted to have dirt on the other guy that was visiting, in order just in case of like he does find something wrong with the drug deal. It would say, hey, look, I got this video of you really acting like a shitty person. If you try anything, I will destroy your career as well as mine. So, but during the video, they find 2 guys that's like watching and kind of like staring him a lot, so to speak. And one of them has a lighter. By the time Simone and Carter go to visit the burial site that that the guy was located in, they found a lighter nearby that matches the guy in the video. So once they realize that's him, and they do the facial recognition, they find it's a guy named Ritu, because the guy, the original agent, kept mentioning Red One, which I'm pretty sure The Rock has something to do with it to promote his upcoming film this holiday season. where do we go? Where do I go after that? Yeah. So after that point, that one guy took a flight over to Washington. So, and they're trying to remember what the hell's going on. So, Elena decided to kind of, use this cognitive memory trick to try and make him remember some forgotten pieces about that night. And he does remember the two guys, and he does remember mentioning a name. I want to say she's I forgot the name, but she's a retired FBI agent. So once they have SWAT team in Washington go to check out the site, they sadly find her dead already. She's been killed. She also was injected with the truth serum. So now they realize that their primary target is this guy. He was an ally of theirs in their country, but then he defected over to the U.S., making a deal with them, having a whole new life here. So they're presumably out to find him to get revenge. So they all transport themselves to Washington to get themselves there. And honestly, it is a very much of a good old-fashioned, mission, like in the first couple episodes of the season, where like it's the full team together. Normally now it's just like Garza's like back in the fishbowl, kind of like, not getting into the action, which you could say it is a side effect of like him like having to like, had that major heart attack, so he can't really be on the field that much, so to speak. But it definitely does feel like a classic mission. As we see the guy kind of enjoying his new life with his family, and then he notices like the four dudes coming over to his house to kill him. He fights back as well as Simone and the others arrive as well. So the five of them swarm the house to look for the guys. They all manage to coincide in a meeting point, but sadly one of the guys does find the wife and the daughter in the bedroom, and he's about to kill them, in front of the husband as retribution. But Simone jumps in front of them to protect them. She gets shot instead. They take down the other dude, and Carter and Brendan fear the worst. Like, she's been shot. They're not looking for the bullet, even though, like, yeah, she's fine. We keep seeing the bulletproof vest. She's fine. And so I was like, oh my god, what's with all the yelling? I'm like, she's not. This isn't. I know this is a season finale. Like, she ain't dying this season. She will not die on my watch. Yeah, she was faking to get a little rise out of it. Even like to Carter's like, I'm always lucky, and then she's like just feels the pain as well. Actually, I forgot there was another scene before they headed out to Washington where Brendan's still kind of figuring out what to do with the seventh day, and Antoinette's kind of worrying about like why is he focusing so much on these gifts for Simone when they're just friends. And Brendan admits that when he was in Quantico with Simone, he was alone. He was, this was a new chapter of his life. He didn't know if he was making the right choice. He just wanted to do so many of his hobbies and, drinking, and he wasn't able to. And Simone kept him on the straight and narrow, kept him, on his feet, and kept him like, keep making him going. And thankfully, he owes her that for getting through that. And he just feels like, he still owes a debt of gratitude to her after everything. So definitely that was important for him to, kind of rectify, like, that's how deep that he trusts Simone. Because, like, by the time when we pick things back up in the career, like, they didn't spend too much time together, like, so to speak. But, like, by the time they get out of it, it's like, they were really close friends. And, like, that immediately makes sense of, like, why that was the case. I want to say after that point, they head back to Washington, but Garza still has a little bit of a bone to pick with the director, because the thing is that they made a deal with someone that was like a very notorious criminal, and then they brought him like to America under a peace deal. But like, what if he had snapped? What if he had decided to turn and like attack from within? And the director's like, that's just our job. Like, we got to make those deals in order to get the larger picture. And like Garza understands that, but like that was just that was a risk. But they don't have a full blown argument about it. The director leaves said, you got your team did a great job, Garza. That's all I can say to you. I'll see you next time. I want to say Simone and Brendan have their own scene about the whole gift thing. And, Simone's like, you don't have to do this to yourself. You don't have to beat yourself over this. Like, it's not necessary. I understand, but like, you don't need to do this. You're my best friend. You're my family. Like, it's not going to change anything. Whether or not you give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 10 presents, it doesn't matter. Which is like pretty sweet for her to say. Cutter calls her up saying that the party's starting without her. Like, what are you doing? Where are you? Simone admits like she'd been shot, and of course Cutter gets really worried, but Simone like calms him down, saying like, look, I'm fine. I had a vest. I'll be fine. I'm gonna get changed. I'm gonna get down there, so don't worry about me right now. Yeah, so they head up, but Simone's like, you know what? I got some recruiting to do. Elena calls over. Actually, no, like Garza and Elena have a brief conversation about like just was the overall thing the right thing to do? Because like the guy was a piece of shit as well that they were protecting. I mean, was it the right move for the entirety of America to give him sovereigns just for some of the crimes that he committed? It's still debatable, and even Garza's like, yeah, we're not fully the good guys here, but definitely they did do the right thing today. Simone comes in all laced out, ready to invite everyone to the party. No no's, no anything, no buts, just their butts in a lounge, ready to party with an entire group of people. And everyone's just admitting, like, Laura's like, I don't want to go. Simone's like, you're gonna go. Carter's like, you're gonna do it, and they're gonna reevaluate your opinion of me the next day. And he's like, I could just fire you today. Like, I don't have a problem with that. And Garza's just like, I don't like crowds, which I'm like, Garza, you had 3 wives and you're running an entire team. I'm pretty sure like crowds are like, out of the loop here. And just like, again, just seeing this scene, and also apparently Elena wasn't originally invited, which I'm like, that kind of is tough. I'm like, hopefully she is legal. I think she is legal. But so the thing is that I just appreciate the scene because like it just, even though that this was not a big finale, so to speak, it definitely did drive that home. Like Simone considers everyone in that room her family. She considers them like a tight knit unit, a tight knit team, and like it's very commendable for her to like include everyone, which I could definitely relate to. So they decide, fuck it, we're going to the party, and that was it for this season of the Rookie Feds, with a party that we have not seen on screen. So for me, I really did enjoy this episode a lot, on just the comedic front and just like, the overall sense of like, we are a tight-knit family, so to speak. We are getting to that point similar to like how the Rookie family is, right now. Definitely in terms of like the stakes of everything with this episode, it definitely didn't make me too much on my toes, so to speak. Definitely this is just like, the bar average so far with this season, and that's perfectly fine. That, I'd rather end it good and fun rather than like bad and just like, somber, if that makes sense. I maybe that sentence didn't make sense, but I'm just saying that I appreciate what they did. It definitely did make me chuckle, and this entire episode just proved like I want to see more of this team. I want to see more of them doing these crazy missions every single week. I just can't wait to hopefully get that word of season 2 and like be able to continue them and continue their journeys to another season. But for now, we wait. But for now, we could just respect the fact this was a good hour of television, a good finale, and overall a great reminder to like we need to see this team more next year. So with that being said, I'm still giving this episode 2 thumbs up. I can't wait to see more of it. And let me know in the comments below what did you think of this finale episode of Feds. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let's have a conversation down below as always. But I believe that's going to do for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the hopeful first season of the Rookie Feds. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's the Two beside our Rookie Feds episode reviews. Right now, we're doing Walker episode reviews and Perry Mason reviews with the Rookie reviews each and every week after brand new episodes on their respective platforms. If you don't care about Rookie Feds, flip side. So currently right now, there is no more new episodes. That is it. We have reached the end of hopefully the first season, so there's no new episodes for a while. However, we're not quite done yet. Next week we'll be doing a season 2 predictions video for a season 2 if we do get one. So I'll be on the regular time slot next week, and then the week afterwards we'll be doing a season 1 non-spoiler review for anyone who's yet to catch out the first season of Rookie Feds, which is now available on Hulu. So go check it out there. But however, this is the end of the road for now. Thank you so much for supporting us on the first season of Feds. Hopefully there will be a second. Hopefully we will get to see these characters on many more adventures in the future. But that still remains a little bit of ways away. But for now, thank you again so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Like, favorite, share if you want to. Ring the bell and follow us on social media. But until we see each other again, for all you members of the Feds, I'll see y'all hopefully in another season. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks. But until then, stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And as always,